Is that how you pronounce it? Lana, right?
Lana.
Lana. Okay. We have Lana on the podcast. We're super excited to have her on. She is a Reiki master and teacher, correct? And life coach. So we've been wanting to have somebody who is a Reiki expert on because we don't know much about it. So we're really glad.
I've also been hearing that word a lot lately, and I don't really know exactly what the practice is. And I'm very interested to know what it is all about. And your Instagram seems very interesting. We're not going to get too much into it because we know we have questions for you. Oops, excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, can you just let us know like how you started, your story, what led you to become a Reiki master and teacher? Like what called you to do this?
Yeah, specifically Reiki or everything,
just
like
general,
coaching?
like coaching, just like how you're starting your journey.
Yeah, so I started out as a personal trainer. This is years ago. Probably, when did I start? I'm going to say 7 years ago, probably. And that was great. Didn't totally love it. But what I did love was that when you're a personal trainer, depending on like how you connect with people and how well you connect, they really trust you to open up about their life. So I would find that my clients were like asking me advice about their life. And I was like, and then I would see change in their life outside of the gym. And I was like, I kind of like that more than the actual gym. Right. So I like the term life coaching was going around. And I was like, I'm going to look into this a little bit more. And I did. I got certified and I just loved it. I just love it. I love, because I honestly believe that everyone is capable of achieving whatever it is that they want. And I believe that everyone's worthy of feeling self-love, self-worth, right? Because there's a lot of people that don't. And that's heartbreaking to me. So they always say like, if, to figure out your passion, like figure out something you would want to change in the world, right? If it was like a perfect world, what would it look like? And for me, it'd be full of love and like people who feel deserving. So I got into life coaching first, then I became a meditation teacher. And I think that's what led me to Reiki was that the more I meditated, the more that I could feel the energy in my body more. Like I could feel like tingling or like, I remember when I was doing my Reiki my meditation teacher certification, when I was meditating, I was feeling myself kind of like moving while I was meditating. So I had asked that question in the class and there was a Reiki master in the class as well. And she was like, I just want to tell you to like pay attention to that. And I was like, oh, okay. But she didn't say too much. And I was like, okay, that's so interesting. So for me, it was like, okay, it's something energetic, right? And so this word Reiki just like kept staying in my head. I was like, hey, there's something calling me towards it. And like, I would meet people who also did Reiki and it's not like a super common thing. Right. So then I had my first session with my Reiki teacher and it was a distance session and it was just so powerful. And I just knew that I had to do it. I just knew how helpful it was. And I just was like, I feel so called to this. So yeah, I just did it. And like, so why I do what I do in general, because everything that I do, because I have lots of certifications, is in the realm of like helping people. Because I like have had my own life difficulties and I honestly did a lot of it alone. And I hate for anyone to like have to go through struggles alone. Like there is support. Right. And if I could be that person to kind of support them on their journey, then it just gives me life. Like it just makes me smile every day. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to touch on two things. Firstly, you said something that kind of brought me to this thing, I guess, that happened the other day to me. You said something about like how you felt like tingly when you when you meditated. And that's like what got you wondering. And again, like I mentioned, we wanted to have you on because we don't know much about Reiki and we've tapped into a lot of like things along our spiritual journey, meditation, manifestation, journaling, all these things, but not Reiki. And it's weird that you said that tingling thing because literally the other day I was meditating and I was doing something with my hands. I don't even know. They were like cramping up or something. I don't know. And I felt like tingles in them, like as if like my energy was going out. It was super weird. Ooh. So I started like looking it up and it was just saying a bunch of things about my chakras and all of this. And it was really like hard to conceptualize and understand, but I have a feeling it has something to do with a lot of what you know. So I want to ask you if that's like under your realm of knowing, like what was that? This like energy that was coming out of me.
Well, you're yeah, you're obviously very intuitive, but you felt that it was energy exiting. Because even when you're you can move energy without Reiki. So when you're meditating, for example, you can move unhealthy energy out of your body. So even when I do Reiki sessions, a lot of people will feel it in their hands or their feet.
Okay.
So the energy like exits out of those places. So that's really amazing that you were so in touch with your body and intuitively knew like, okay, something's like flowing out of me. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was super weird. Were you gonna say something?
No, just for me when I meditate, I don't know if this is relevant. I can't feel anything. Maybe I'm not intuitive in my body, but I just feel like I like try to feel things, but I can't. So maybe Reiki would help with that if I feel like I'm kind of stagnant in my meditation or I'm not allowing my body to like really be present in it. I don't know if that's nervousness or like anxiety when I'm like still in a still moment.
It could be that. I think that like even that's intuitive, right? Like if you do have anxiety and just knowing that that's what it could be, because when we have anxiety, we're so much in our heads and out of our bodies, right? So we're kind of like disconnected from our physical body. But I think Reiki would definitely help with that. Okay. And like, I don't, like you probably are very connected with your body in different ways. Like when you feel certain emotions, you probably feel them in different places, right? Like if you're heartbroken, you feel it in your heart. If you get a gut feeling, it's in your gut, right? That's so true. Like, it's just maybe in meditation that's a little bit challenging, but like part of meditation, I would say, is just like allow, like don't strive in meditation to like have a goal. It's just like, just meditate and like whatever happens, you know?
So, just to clarify, you're saying Reiki is like the movement of energy. If you're to put like a definition to it.
Right. I was going to say that for those who don't exactly know, I still even don't know exactly what it is. So can you just like a brief like summary / explanation?
Yeah, sure. So Reiki means in Japanese, spiritually wise energy. You probably heard the word like chi. So it's like energy. It's the same chi. There's different words for it in different languages, but it's spiritually wise energy that helps to move unhealthy energy, or byoki in Japanese, out of the body. So everything is energy. So I like to describe it as in like emotions are energy. And that's why a lot of people come to Reiki, because there's stuff that it's hard to let go of. They're feeling angry, they're feeling down, they're feeling anxious. So that's all energy that's like in your body that just wants to like get out. But the problem is a lot of people don't know how to move this energy. And so Reiki is really just, I call it like a quick fix for me. Like I have personally done Reiki, like had my teacher do it to me when I've been in like SOS situations. Like I'm freaking out, or I'm like, and it's like, I just need to process this, right? It just helps us to move the energy. So it's a touch healing as well, right? So we start at the head and we move all the way down the body. Touching on like the main 7 chakras, but then also other places as well. And that's I guess it just helps you to feel aligned, helps you to feel balanced, helps you to feel lighter. Like everyone who gets off the table is just like, I feel so much lighter. Like I just feel,
So you're actually physically touching the person. Are you like, I thought it was like more hand movements, like pulling.
Yeah.
It's actually touching?
It's just touch. So you can choose. I ask clients if they're comfortable with touch, because everyone has their own situation. So I always ask for consent first. But most people like the touch, like when they're in person, and like the connection. However, and I don't move my hands. Sometimes I feel called like intuitively to like move my hands, but it's not part of the traditional Reiki.
Got it.
But there's distance Reiki too, right? Like I have clients all over the world. So sometimes we don't even have to be touching. We're just connected that way. So the energy is pretty amazing. Yeah.
So I know that Reiki also has a lot to do with like you said, like kind of aligning chakras and things like that, and that there's 7 main chakras. And like I came across something that I read the other day, and it said something about how if you aren't feeling like you can use your voice or something, like you're having trouble like expressing your feelings, this could mean that your throat chakra, I think, is blocked. So I want to like know like what are some examples, if you can share. I know you obviously don't want to disclose things about your clients, but like maybe things that you can share of people who've come to you with like blocked chakras and what that can feel like, or like be a signal of, like a blocked root chakra or something like that. If that makes sense.
We could go through them all quickly if you want, like all 7. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I'm so happy to do this. This is like my favorite subject ever.
Okay, good. I was like, I don't know if she's going to want to go through all 7, but we're down. So.
Oh yeah, I do. You'll have to stop me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, okay, so we'll start at the crown chakra, which is the top of the head. This energy center actually faces up towards the heavens, towards the universe. So this is our spiritual chakra. It connects us with the divine, but it's also the oneness chakra. So it connects us with everyone and everything. And we just feel very connected. We can feel connected to plants, to animals, to people, to all of the elements. So when this is blocked, people can feel really lonely. Like they just feel that disconnect. They might question if there's like a higher power or a God, or just like, which could would be really lonely for some people, like not having that support, because that's a huge support for a lot of people, right? What else? So I would say that's the main one, like loneliness and just feeling like lack of spirituality or like faith. The third eye is the next one. So it just sits right here, like between the eyebrows, just a little bit above. And this one, when it's blocked, people are overthinking. There can be anxiety there, a lack of trust. People think it's just intuition, but it's really about like trusting yourself and trusting that life is happening for your highest good. When it's open, you'll just feel so intuitive. Like you just have a deep knowing about things. So the next one is the throat, like which you just perfectly described, that it's difficult to communicate, especially authentically. And so all of these energy centers are like connected to the physical body as well. So what's very interesting about the throat chakra is that most women that come into sessions, their throat chakra is either blocked or has stuck energy in it. And that doesn't surprise me, because it's like women are usually told to like keep the peace, or like don't make a big deal, or like, you know, they want to be like the quiet. Like culturally that's a huge thing, right? But then it's actually proven medically that women have more thyroid issues than men. So it's not surprising that like because there's that stuck energy, it causes the illness, right? So it's an interesting fact. But so going down to the heart chakra, that is if someone's not able to let go of something, if they're in a lot of pain, like a heartbreak or a loss, right? Grief. What else? When there's a lack of self-compassion or compassion for others, when they judge themselves a lot or judge others a lot, that can be a blocked heart chakra.
Makes sense.
So moving down, you have the solar plexus, which just sits underneath your heart, so the top of your stomach. This is like our confidence, our self-worth, our personal power. When this is blocked, there's a lot of ego involved, and then obviously a lack of self-worth or not feeling enough, feeling like how someone treats us is like because we're not good enough, but really it has nothing to do with us at all.
That's really interesting. Okay, I kind of want to say, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead. No, please do.
We spoke about this kind of with one of our guests on our last podcast. They were talking about like the mental or like just insecurities we have. And I was talking about how I have like this fear of like failure and like not being able to succeed. And as I was reading through some of your posts, you talked a lot about self-worth. And now that you say that, it's super weird because you also said that it links with your physical body, but I have actual problems breathing from my like diaphragm, which is I guess where the solar plexus is. Like I physically cannot unless I lie down on my back and really try. So I'm starting to realize that blockage there physically of me not being able to breathe is linked to that feel of like failure and not being good enough. I'm wondering like what you think. Like, do you think that's accurate in me saying
100%. I literally had a client with the same thing yesterday.
That's so
he said
weird.
He couldn't breathe into that space. It was so difficult for him.
Wow, that's sorry. Just to sorry.
Yeah,
remember when
we're getting way too excited.
Do you remember when I had dysphagia?
Yeah.
So I have I go to a spiritual healer myself, and she tells me that I have trouble with my throat chakra. Like it's always blocked or clogged, or like I can't get my thoughts out, or I meek myself a lot. Like I always hold my breath or hold my words in because I'm scared what like others will say. And while that was happening, I got, I guess, diagnosed with dysphagia, which is like when your throat is literally tight, like you can't.
Wow.
And I remember I couldn't swallow. I would like choke on my food. I like couldn't talk sometimes. So I think that's
that's
100%.
It's super interesting what you're saying. Like I'm honestly like realizing that the physical really links with all of this.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay, but I was gonna say like you can do this going forward. Like whenever you're feeling something weird in your body, just go and like research like what chakra sits there and like what could that mean.
Yeah.
And I love that you know, you have, because your body is so smart. Like your body knows everything before we know anything. So it's always good to like keep interviewing your body. That's what I always say.
Right.
But I love, like, as you talked about what you know, the condition you had with your throat, like I kind of smile at them. Like, I love that you're doing a podcast because this is so good for your throat chakra. Like you're speaking, you know?
Like before we've done this, I said to her, like, I would never say like my opinions and stuff like to people who are listening, but as we've been doing it, it's just come naturally. And I think it really actually did help. I've never had dysphagia again. So I mean, that's good.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So, and there's so many tools that we can, you know, and we can talk about that later if you guys want, like little tools to work on each area. Yeah. Or we could talk off too, like if you want to talk about your own personal things, like I'm more than happy to share some stuff with you. But yeah, so yeah, that's a solar plexus. There's anger there too. So then down to the sacral chakra, which sits just underneath the belly button. When that is blocked, there's a lot of shame. You can have difficulty expressing yourself in the physical world, like just showing up as you are. What else? If there's sexual trauma, sometimes that can cause a block a lot of the time. Or someone, like, what I really notice here is like if someone has had an abortion, that one is really comes up as a block. Yeah, it comes up as a block because it's physical trauma, right? There. But and there's a lack of creativity there, a lack of feminine energy or being able to nurture yourself. And then the last one is the root chakra. If that's blocked, 99.9% of the time there's anxiety there. Like this is safety, security, stability. So a lot of, and this is like also very tied to family, like our roots, right? The root chakra. So if there was any trauma as a child of safety and security, like it's easy for that person to not feel safe and secure in the world, even though they are, right? Like it's hard, just like that fight or flight kind of goes off a lot for them.
Right.
So yeah, so those are just like ways to tell that if you have any blocks. But yeah, if you want to know how to heal any of them on your own, like you can like ask and let me know like what I would suggest if you're interested, or we could talk about it.
No, I'm down.
I'm
yeah. You don't have to go through all of them again, but like if you don't want to, but even just the main issues that maybe people have, the main blockages, what would you say are some tips?
Or not the main, I guess like the most common you see within like your clients thus far, like Yeah,
I would say I would say throat would be one. So like I always tell people to sing, like even if you're not a great singer, like in the shower, just start singing. I also recommend to journal as a way of starting to learn how to communicate. The color blue is represented by throat chakra, so like wearing the color blue or drinking from a blue cup. Blue crystals. They're all associated with color. So I
was gonna say, should we get our crystals to align with the chakras that we need to work most on?
Yeah,
that's
I always do that.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. It's one of the things I like people to be able to like do the work themselves and then like bring in crystals at the same time.
Right.
But like, you know, don't just rely on the crystals.
Yeah, just don't bring in crystals and expect it.
I think that's what I do. Like I have like maybe 5 crystals at my bedside and like I won't be feeling the best.
At them.
Crystals like, why aren't you working? But like I'm not really doing anything to like help myself, you know?
Like, hello.
I've kind of pushed them off to the side because I don't know how. And I'm just like, even just meditating and journaling, I feel like I got into a little bit, we spoke about on the podcast, like a rut maybe a few months ago where I just kind of wasn't feeling myself. I stopped meditating, stopped journaling. So I just pushed all of it to the side because I didn't know how to like do it. But like you said, you don't have to know how. You just let it be. You just go and like be with yourself and just kind of let it. If you do the work, then like obviously you can bring them in. But like you said, the crystals aren't just going to magically be like, okay, you're healed. So
right, exactly. It does take a lot of, it takes tools, it takes action, right? That's why I love the coach, like that I do coaching as well. Cause I kind of like when I do my Reiki sessions, I kind of coach at the same time, right? Cause I love action. Like everybody who comes off my table has homework cause it's like, you got to show up for yourself to continuously keep these chakras open and flowing, right?
Yeah. Can we ask about the chakra that I asked about before? Like how do the solar plexus one? Like how would you recommend to a client of yours, let's say, to I don't know, fix that or work on that?
Yeah. So exactly, like keep practicing breathing into that space.
Yeah.
So funny enough, because a lot of fear sits there as well. Yeah. Yeah. So you're like, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, because
Yeah,
like
fear of failure.
literally like, I mean, not to get so like deep, but when I wake
That's
up in
okay.
the morning sometimes and I know that something big is about to happen that day, whether it's at work or like just an opportunity that might be coming up, like I'm scared. I'm always scared that that's not going to happen or it's not going to pan out or it's going to fail. And I literally can't breathe. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like nobody understands what I mean because they're like, you're breathing. Like right now you're breathing. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I can't like breathe. It's weird.
Right. So that's how you can tell too, like in your body, if it's blocked or it's open, because it's either contracted, which means there's a block,
Right.
which is what you're feeling,
Right.
or it feels expanded. When we're aligned, we feel light. Our chest is open, you know, we feel relaxed, our shoulders drop. But if something feels tight, that's a good sign that there's some stuck energy there.
Got it.
So solar plexus, that's my favorite one. I had to work on this a lot. So I would suggest like physical things that you can do. Do you do yoga?
I try. I dabbled.
You don't have to do yoga. I'm just going to give you like one pose. Do you know the cat cow?
Yes. The one that's like this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do this every morning for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And before you go to bed. This will not only help with the breathing, but like also expanding the space and allowing like physical space there, but you're also breathing into it at the same time. So funny enough, the longest nerve in the body goes from the back of our head all the way down into that space. So when it's contracted, it's a signal that tells our brain that everything's okay, like we're fine. But if it's contracted, it's sending signals like, we're in danger. Like if you're not breathing deeply into it, because what happens when you're in danger, you breathe quickly, right? You're like, so your brain is going, oh God, we're in trouble. And then anxiety starts, right? So
like I'm shaking my head because like honestly I've been to like I don't know how many doctors, chiropractors, and like none of them make sense to me, and you're making more sense about like how all of this like works, you know what I mean?
Just energy, it's so simple. It's like our natural state is like it's just amazing. But practice cat cow, practice continue breathing into those spaces. Like go on YouTube, search solar plexus meditation, get into the sun, right? Solar plexus.
Oh, makes
it's
sense.
Like the sun. The sun gives us like power. It energizes us, right? Makes us feel powerful. What else? Foods associated, like yellow foods, like lemon and ginger. Every morning I do a lemon and ginger tea, right?
Yeah, I try. Yeah, I try with ginger.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, foods, wear the color yellow, have boundaries.
Oh my God. You're like speaking directly to all my issues right now. Do you remember the other day we were literally talking about the podcast we did about me not having boundaries? That's crazy. This is insane. Wow,
I relate to a lot of that. So I've had to do all of this work, and I know that it works. Like I feel like a different person. Like I used to get like full blown panic attacks before, and now I barely get anxiety. Like once in a while, you know.
Was that from you working like on Reiki, the techniques and like these techniques, and obviously among other things, but like this is kind of what was pivotal for you in that sense?
Yeah, it was moving energy. Like it was before I even got into Reiki, but Reiki really, really helps with the anxiety, like, because I can do it to myself, right? But I knew about chakras. I would say learn about the chakras and like what you can do for each one. And physically move your body. Like if it's your heart, physically open up the heart space. If it's your throat, physically do exercises to open up your throat, allow the energy to move, and then do everything that, like whatever you research, like do anything and everything to like do that. Like singing, if it's, you know, your throat, if it's your sacral chakra, it's about creativity, like get the paintbrush, like be playful, right? Like things like that. So just try to understand your own energy and your own energy centers. And
so sorry, I know we've focused so much on chakras. I'm sorry, but
that's okay. Oh, don't be sorry. I love it.
I want to ask, just for like those of you listening who might be interested in some of this, you can kind of work with someone. Like, how can you work with someone is my question. Like, do you start from like identifying what exactly that blockage is, and then you can work with them throughout like some sort of program? How does it work usually? Yeah.
So for coaching, I do. So it's nice now because I like incorporate my Reiki and coaching to clients that are open to it, because not everyone's interested in Reiki. Like no one's really, like, some people are not really sure about it. Some people love it. But for Reiki specifically, I always do a chakra reading before each session. So I actually take a physical pendulum and put it over each energy center to see what's moving, what's not, what's blocked. And it's nice because the client can see it as well. and then I would recommend after the session, like what, you know, how often you should be coming. I don't have like a program for them, but they always have homework. But I do recommend at least once a month when you start.
Okay. Well, yeah. Like you said, it's more of like when you're feeling that blockage, you go and it's kind of like an immediate release.
Yeah. Right? But also maintenance, right? Like we maintain our cars and like everything else. And like, you know, we don't always wait till like a nail breaks to go do our nails. Like we just keep going. And like, you know, as soon as we see a little bit, we're like, we go and get it done. So I just think it's like, cause I used to be like that too. I only used to seek help when I was like in a mess, right? Like I'm always like, oh, I'm like, you know, now I need a therapy session or, you know, whatever it was, or Reiki. But like, I'm like, hey, why don't I be proactive? Why don't I just keep this stuff open? Like, why do I need to feel a certain way to like do something, right?
Right. It's like
going to the gym.
Energy. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Like we're so into, a lot of us are so into our like how we look physically and like how people perceive us. But it's like the way you perceive yourself is like the way that your energy is flowing, the way that you feel. So it makes sense to maintain it with practices like Reiki. So that's super interesting. Like I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in this. So
yeah. It was really popular. No problem. It was really popular in the 70s, but it's definitely making a comeback now. Yeah, it was so popular. Really? Like all the hippies.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from chakras, we want to talk about limiting beliefs, because this was something that was kind of like a theme also when we just like read about some of your posts and things like that. So I want to talk about the top 5 that you mentioned, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So it was, for those of you listening, that she posted about top 5 limiting beliefs, and they were really interesting to us because I think they're like, they really encompass a lot of the limiting beliefs that everyone
we say every day.
Yeah. So it's, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough experience. I'm too old or too young. I don't have enough money, or I'm not good enough. The I'm not good enough one I kind of just touched on, but I kind of wanted to know if you feel comfortable talking about like which one of those maybe was the most important for you to get over and to become like this life coach and this really impactful person that you are today. And if you feel comfortable talking about that. Like,
no, I'm so,
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm good with going there now.
Okay.
I've learned to go there. Yeah, this is how you connect with people, right? By being vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. Good enough. Like everything you said, that's what I had to work on that stuff. So like feeling like I really deserved things was really hard for me, or feeling like I was worthy. And I couldn't really, it's funny because like it's the same with you, right? Like we can show up so confident in a room, but like what's going on inside, like no one would know. Right. Suffering and like fearful.
100%.
So knowing that like and like, but that ties into money too, right? Like I've been really working on my relationship with money, and like also like knowing that I'm deserving of money, right? And then like I that there is an abundance of money out there. Why can't it be mine?
Yeah.
Right? Like just shifting that. So I would say like feeling good enough, or feeling enough, and money was a big thing. But funny enough, money is also in the same solar plexus area,
and that
abundance
is something also we recently did a podcast on. Legitimately, this is super like funny that we're touching on all these like these recurring themes. Is like having a good relationship with money is important, because if you're always thinking and constantly like thinking like, oh, I need money, I need this, I don't have enough money to be able to do all these things I want, you're kind of like blocking off the universe from kind of like allowing it to come to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also to say that money is definitely root chakra related as well. Like I know that my fears about not having money or enough money definitely came from that, because I came from like a single mom with 4 kids. And so it's how we heard our parents talk about money too, right? Like money doesn't grow on trees, and like, you know, worried about the bills and all that stuff, right? So it's like, oh, are we going to be safe? Like, can we pay the rent? Can I survive? Right? It's survival,
right?
Is money. So and root chakra is very based on survival, right? Safety, security, stability. But when it comes to limited beliefs, I think the first thing you should ask yourself is it true? Like whatever your limited belief is it true? Is it a fact? Because it's never a fact. It's never a fact.
Right.
And then also like figuring out where does that come from? Like why, what is that? Because I feel like self-awareness is the first step to figuring out like what's the next step. So if I could realize, okay, my relationship with money is because I grew up that way, realizing that it's not my stuff, right? But I'm carrying it.
Right.
It's really empowering, realizing how it's blocked you, but then also like forgiving yourself for having those limited beliefs, I think is one of the huge steps. Like being like, I'm so sorry that I like believed this for so long and held you back, right? Speaking to yourself.
Right.
And then I always get my clients to like journal on like, what would it be like if you didn't believe that? And like, what would the opportunities be like? Like, what would change in your life? And it's like, their face literally like lights up when they're like reading what they wrote, right? Because it's like, all of a sudden they believe all this stuff. Yeah. So, limiting beliefs are tough. And to learn to be okay with uncertainty as well, right? Not anything's for sure. Even if you do believe something and you change your belief, doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. But like, you don't know if you don't try.
Right. 100%. I think that like limiting beliefs is something that you've also, I don't want to like speak for you, but you've said that you like struggle with the limiting beliefs and like making yourself and all of that. So I think that that's like a big theme here too. And Reiki can obviously help with that as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
No,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if it's something like not feeling enough, I feel like just booking the Reiki session is like part of feeling enough because you've made the time for yourself, right? You've shown care for yourself and nurturing for yourself. But then in the session, especially, I like my style of Reiki. Everyone does it differently. Like some people do this session like complete silence. I do it mostly in silence, but like I like to talk as we go and like we do affirmations together and like, so like that's very empowering. So I think that helps the energy flow and I allow my clients to talk as well if they feel the need. So, and I'll ask them questions. Is that true? And they're like, oh, well, no, it's not really true.
It's really great to have people like you out there, like trying to make like, or making an impact on others who are trying to go on this like personal journey or spiritual journey. Because I think, and we've talked about this before here, that there's like an oversaturation of just like self-help almost ish, like journaling and manifesting and do this and do that and wake up at 5 a.m. and make sure you do 20 affirmations and this. And I fall victim to that. Like, more often than not, like I try and do a new routine like every month and I'm like, hey, which one's going to work for me? And it's overwhelming. So I'm trying to be open to people, like you who can actually like help guide us through this. So I just want to basically commend you for doing that because it's really cool. It obviously helps people too.
No, it's true because all that stuff like deters you from even wanting to do it. And that's why I stopped journaling, meditating, trying to like better, I guess, myself because I was like, it's too hard. I don't know like where to go, how to do it. I don't know how I'm feeling. I need someone to like ask me those probing questions in order for me to actually know what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? It takes more, I think, for me to like just put something on a paper. Like I need to like be kind of guided. So I think that would like, really help a lot of people.
And that's great for like people that have difficulty just like with self-inquiry. Coaching is great for that because coaching is all about questions. Like I just ask the right questions. I don't like to tell someone like do this, do that. I never say that. I just like ask them questions and they find their way to the answer, right?
You're not telling them.
No, and when it comes to like those routines, I find them it's a lot. It's a lot to have like those and then when we don't do it, we're like, oh man, like I didn't do it again. So like interview your body. Like, what does my body feel like today? Like, what food is it craving? Because that's usually a reason. Like, it'll be crazy. Like, you'll be craving pineapples, and then you have a solar plexus issue. You know what I mean? It's like your body knows what it needs, and then also like, does my body feel like walking today? Does my body feel like nature today? Like, does it feel like a bath? Like, just do what you feel like your body is calling for intuitively for healing.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think like over stressing, like I do believe that small habits every day can lead to like bigger results, obviously. But even if that small habit is like taking 30 minutes at the beginning of your day to do something for yourself, no matter what it is, like you said, just whatever you feel like doing for you in that moment is better than like forcing yourself to do that journal prompt every morning if you really don't feel like it. Like you're just gonna feel like shit after, you know?
100%.
Just like not actually being there in the moment doing it. You're just kind of like writing it out.
You're like, fuck me, I need to write. Yeah. You're like
exactly. In like I find the morning the best time because like, you know, it's that limiting belief of like, oh, I don't have enough time. But it's like the morning is like the best time to get stuff done for yourself. Cause like you can choose to wake up a little bit earlier, but literally like my thing in the morning, even if I don't meditate in the morning, it's sitting in bed with a coffee and I'll do it for 45 minutes. Like, just sit there, you know, like all my, like, this is my thing. Or like, I'll look out the window and look at the city. Like, I'm just like, this is what I need. Like, I need to go slow. Yeah. Cause the rest of the day is coming at me, right?
that kind of brings me to another thing that we wanted to touch on is like the aspect of manifesting versus like actually trusting a higher power, and like kind of like the difference between acting out of desperation, aka like we just said, like manifesting every day, keep doing it and doing it and doing it and expecting something to happen, as opposed to just like being consistent enough that you're trusting the universe, if that makes sense. Like, what is your best practice, I guess, when it comes to manifesting? And we ask everyone that comes on this, like, who's into like spirituality and personal development, just because like it's cool to know what other people do for this like law of attraction, you know?
Yeah. So when to know if you're like doing too much, like striving and not trusting versus trusting? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. So you can feel when you're desperate in your body because it's fear. Right? You can feel when there's like a worry that something's not going to work out, right? It's like in your solar plexus, in your gut. You can usually feel like I'm wanting this so bad that I'm like, and that's like the opposite of mindfulness. Mindfulness is like non-striving. You can still do things, but does it feel like I'm like clinging on to something so desperately? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's, you know, an opportunity, whatever it is, am I feeling that like that tense feeling in my body? Where trusting is more of like, I'm just allowing, like I'm doing my part, but I also, right, this is very third eye, right? There is an aspect of the crown chakra, which is spirituality and having faith in God and your angels and your ancestors, right? Which I highly recommend, because like ancestors, like we got tons of them and they're all rooting for us. So, and I believe they're doing things for us to like help us, you know, succeed in this life. And like angels and God, the universe wants to support us.
Right.
So just like remembering that we're supported. And then also it's like, so very third eye, like I said as well, like just trusting, like, when am I striving? When am I, just feeling like this is too intense. And then I'm not trusting myself enough, and I'm not trusting the universe, and I'm not trusting life enough.
I guess it's like really full circle too with the whole self-worth thing.
Yeah.
You know, just like knowing yourself and like believing in yourself equals believing in the universe, and like you're going to deserve what comes to you.
Exactly. And control is held in the solar plexus too, right? So if we keep doing things to manifest and it becomes almost obsessive, like we're trying to be controlling with it, like we're going to control our outcomes rather than just be like, okay, I did this and let it go. Put it just into the universe, right? Yeah. I keep getting this vision right now of like driving, and you're like just driving so intensely. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a car and you're just like stiff and you're like, okay, come on, we got to go this way, right? But like, that doesn't feel good. Like, let's just chill. Let's cruise. Like, let's just, you know?
No, 100%. So, and I've heard this thing once where it's like you plant the seed and like you water it like a little bit and like you let it grow, and you might water it a little bit more, but then you need to just let the plant grow and let the sun like grow it. And that's almost like you planting your little thing that you want, or your big thing that you want, aka your manifestation, and just letting it happen as kind of like life happens, right?
Absolutely. I caught myself like a couple months ago, like, maybe more than a couple months. I caught myself like striving so much for like money and opportunities. And I was just like, this doesn't feel good. I need to chill. Like I'm forgetting about trusting. And the minute you let go, watch what happens. Yeah. If you're trusting, watch the amount of opportunities that came my way. Like I didn't even go looking. They came for me. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, thank God, knock on wood, you know, like it's amazing.
That's so true though. I felt that way too. Like when I first like came out of school, like post grad, I was like striving so hard. I'm like, I need the best job. I need the most money out of here. I need this and that. And it was taking me so long. And I was like actually obsessed with it. Like I need my dream job right away. And as soon as I chilled, like gave it some time, thought about like, what do I really want? Things started coming at me like different, like even the podcast opportunity, like I didn't, coming out of not high school, coming out of university and my post grad, like I didn't think I'd ever be sitting here like talking to someone like you, like doing it, you know what I mean? So like all these cool things are coming at you, and you're not actually like when you think back in hindsight, you're like, holy shit, I never thought this would happen. So I feel like it's really important to be aware in the moment too, and just be mindful and like grateful for what we do have.
I think
absolutely.
I'm at that stage now because I just finished my post-grad, so I'm like out of school finally.
Congrats.
After 5. Yeah, thank you. But I'm in that stage now where I'm like, you know, the job market's not the greatest. I keep looking every day for like a marketing job or a job that I want to go into my field. But I also realize that like I'm negatively self-talking like on myself and on like what I want. Like, oh, there's no jobs. I'm never going to get a job right now. Like, and this, you know what I mean? And I feel like that puts like a void like onto what you want to come to you. You know what I mean? If you just keep kind of shitting on it, like, oh, I'm not going to find a job yet. Oh, this and that, whatever. It's like
words are energy.
Exactly. You're giving like negative affirmations instead of like positive ones. So that's a huge thing too.
Yeah. Oh, that's major. Funny about the job thing as well. One of my clients he's in Norway and he just quit a job. That was a really good job, but he wasn't happy. But I trusted that he made the right decision. And he was stressing about, and I was telling him to trust. We ended up pulling an oracle card for him that was like, just chill, like it's coming.
Wow.
He's like, okay, I want to take a vacation. I'm like, go take your vacation. Like, you're going to be fine. He's in Italy. Like he'll you know, just living his life. He'll like pull out his laptop once in a while when he stops in a coffee shop, apply for a job. This guy just got the best job ever. And I'm like, I'm so glad you went to Italy and chilled and enjoyed life instead of sitting there like on the computer every single day, stressing, talking negatively. Like, just let go and like watch what happens.
That's
and
amazing.
it was just amazing. Yeah.
That's like you're not living now. It's like you're living in a future that like might not actually be like that might not actually be there, you know? So
exactly. And to trust that we're always guided, right? Like when we're connected spiritually and just trusting whatever path, wherever you are in life is your path. Even if it's shitty, just know that this is taking you somewhere, you know, like just trust it.
Just trust that you're like you're aligned there, and like that's eventually going to lead you to the best version of yourself.
Yeah, you're always on the path. Do the work. You're accountable. Do the work, but also just trust that you're where you need to be right now.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No,
I kind of want to ask you something before we let you go. That was like super informative, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
What's the image behind you? I'm like so curious. This is
the healing priestess. The high priestess.
Oh, I like
the tarot card. She's my favorite. She's also on my phone. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, I see it.
I really connected with her. She's the holder of knowledge and spiritual. So she's like,
I really like it. Is it like a?
Thank you.
Is it a picture? Is it like a? It looks like a blanket, kind of.
It is. It's
like
a tapestry.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
you can get it. I think I got it on Etsy or something like that. But it's a tarot card. Yeah.
Wow.
But she's just beautiful. I just find her so. Yeah, she holds the knowledge and she's spiritual and she's intuitive. And I was like, I resonate with that.
As are you. So it makes
sense. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we really want to thank you for coming on. That was super informative.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I was going to say before we go, maybe just tell our listeners where they can find you or best way to reach you, how to like maybe book with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is coaching by Lana. My website is coachingbylana.com. There's a link in my bio on Instagram that will lead you to coaching consultations, distance Reiki. Maybe you're not in Toronto, in-person Reiki. I do energy readings as well. So they're like 15 minutes and I can just check your chakras, even from distance. Cool. So that's where you can find me and reach out to me. You can always send me a DM if you have questions.
Cool. I will definitely add that in the podcast notes.
Yeah, we'll add it.
Beautiful. I appreciate that.